Yeah.
Welcome back to Wave Listens Live. Joining me now is Larry Weiss from Elder Advisors. We've also got Autumn Schneider, and they brought a special guest. We've got Greg, a client of theirs, who I guess is going to share some kind of testimony that I'm going to decide to believe, I guess.
Yeah.
But as soon as he says something about how good Larry is, then you just start questioning it all.
I'm throwing up already. Right?
So,
yeah.
Welcome, all three of you.
Thank you, Sean. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It is January 8th, for those who are wondering at home.
January 8th, Thursday, planet Earth.
They may be confused by his Christmas times.
Well, okay, well, this is actually more the subdued snow. You know, Epiphany was last Sunday. So as the wise men, the kings, are returning to their kingdom, I'm still giving a little acknowledgement, but Christmas pretty much put away, but I still got a couple ties, so it's, you know, non-threatening.
Well, you know, Larry, you might have been better off doing some pre-planning ahead of this.
Touche.
To make sure that you were dressed appropriately.
You know, once again, Sean, you've demonstrated quite accurately why you are the consummate professional here in the Kentuckiana viewing area. Sean Beatty, ladies and gentlemen, give it up to him, Kentuckiana. Come on, you the man. A couple shout-outs. I want to say hi to Dory and her little puppy dog, Snissy, on her lap. Oh, wait a minute. I mean, hi to Snissy for her little puppy dog, Dory, on her lap. We love you, Snissy. And, you know, we talk about there's 3 levels of estate planning: pre-planning, pre-crisis planning, and crisis planning. In a moment, we're going to share stories, or Greg is going to share stories on the pre-planning and how to transition to crisis planning. But I do want to give a shout out to Diane in TV land. She makes me call her Duchess. So she comes in the other day, I'm writing stuff down, I'm looking at her email, and I said, well, Diane, excuse me, Duchess. So I don't know what that's all about, but Duchess is pre-crisis planning. She can see what's coming on. Fortunately, she has a power of attorney because we're starting to get things lined up, because she's helping a dear friend, family member, and if it keeps going the way it's going, probably going to be looking at some issues that will turn into crisis planning in 2 or 3 months. So she's getting ahead of things by getting things lined up. So if the shoe does drop, it's not such a big crisis later. So I really applauded her. Anytime these families come in and they have their stuff, because sometimes people come in, they don't bring anything, they have no idea what they're doing, and we help with that, but it just makes it more difficult. But you've got to have the tools to do that. And barbershop law is always devastating, because there's people watching today that think nothing can be done. Well, with Elder Advisors, don't go broke in a nursing home, because you don't have to. It's more than a moniker. It's accurate. It's what we do. So if you have a husband and wife situation, there's special transfer mechanisms where we can transfer everything to the at-home spouse. Now, somebody in TV land is saying, well, what about the 5-year look back? It doesn't apply to husband and wife, okay? There's proper ways that we can transfer those assets to the at-home spouse so they lose nothing. Okay, but you have to make the call, come in to visit with us so we can talk about that. The 5-year look back comes into people that are single, and we can still protect about half of the assets. But Greg, this esteemed gentleman to my left, he is basically the poster child of the recipient of the parents, Clarice and Thurman Conrad, right?
Yes.
Probably 14 years ago. They reached out and they wanted to get stuff taken care of and get things lined up so that their son, if things started happening, could do those things. So with that, I'm going to let kind of Greg relay what a lot of that was, and with their insightful TV personality skills, might be able to pull from the guest.
Yeah, well, we could try.
Try harder.
My first question is, how do you even end up in a situation where you're relying on Larry Weiss? No, I'm just kidding. Because when you call 855-LARRY-55, an experienced team of advisors are able to help you through this process. Walk me through what they were able to do for you, what they were able to do for your family, and how that has set you guys up for success now and even moving forward even further in the future.
Yeah, I think the initial meeting, you know, my parents my dad had retired, and my parents built their forever home, the place they thought they would live the rest of their days, and my dad ended up 10 years into his retirement getting a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease. So, you know, we started getting an idea that maybe that wouldn't get to carry through. So we did have some preliminary meetings and had done some things, some pre-planning, as Larry has said. We did that early on, and then as my dad's situation worsened, then we switched to the crisis planning that he talked about.
We always hear Larry, you know, talk about the pre-planning, the pre-crisis planning, and then the crisis planning. The best case scenario is to get ahead of it before you ever get to that point as well. Autumn, when you hear stories like Gregg's and your role dealing with all the different clients that you deal with, because they're always, well, they're everyone's priority at Elder Advisors, but yours specifically in your specific role, what does that tell you about the the services that you provide and how much they can help a family set up for success.
So yeah, our services, we have a lot of different services, and a lot of you know I do placement for nursing home. But for this family, in the beginning, doing the pre-planning, the tools that are in there that you need for the crisis planning later, I mean, it's extraordinary. It goes a long way. It's what every family needs. You don't have to have it when you come in, but we will help you get that. We work with great attorneys to do the legal on that part. Without those things, it's going to make it really tough. It's going to make it really tough. Larry could probably jump in on that.
Well, yeah, because when Clarice and Thurman reached out to me years ago, they wanted to avoid probate. So I introduced them to an attorney. They set up a trust because probate will happen. Unless some things are done ahead of time, pre-planning. And so the attorney discussed with them, an easy option to do that was to set up a trust. And then that's kind of what Autumn and I do, is we kind of help them plug it in. Because otherwise it's a bunch of legal documents that the attorneys prepare.
We go to the banks.
Yeah.
So I go with a lot of our clients to the banks, make sure everything's plugged in, titled correctly into the trust. Make sure there's beneficiaries on different things that they have, different accounts. Maybe it's a bank, maybe it's something else. But we want to make sure everything is titled or has beneficiary provisions to avoid probate. And that has nothing to do with crisis. Again, it's nothing to do with crisis, but it is the pre-planning tools. Go to maybe put the cars in the trust, different things that you don't think about.
Yeah.
And Greg, I do have one question for you before we go to break, because I want you to explain to people watching who may be in a similar situation as you, or a similar situation as your parents, why should they call 855-LARRY55 today?
If you think you need to call and talk to someone, then you probably do. And if you don't have a plan, you will spend your days reacting to these things that come your way.
And Greg, I know you're sticking around for the other segment too, so I just wanted to make sure we got that at least once before we went to that next one. We're going to talk all about crisis planning. We're talking about more and more of what they can do for you if you call Larry55, 855-LARRY55, or visit elderadvisors.com. We've got one more segment. We'll be right back. We'll see you in a couple minutes.